Hi there. Read the disclaimer, please. Hi there, lovely individuals. Pepo Coin Channel. What's going on in the cryptocurrency market? Why is there a sell-off following positive news? On the plus side, I can somewhat see why this is occurring, but it's also possibly the most perplexing market I've seen in a long time. I will therefore describe my theory, what I believe is occurring, and what is happening. All I ask is that you smile at me so that I can radiate those positive feelings. Press the like button. Let's attempt to get this video to receive 2,000 likes. You people are capable, I'm sure of it. Let me give you a moment to complete it. You must do. All right, let's begin. At the moment, XRP is down 4.9% for the day, trading at $2.42. After we had the signal to the upward, you can see whether we're looking at the 4-hour chart here. I take it from the indicator, we are now observing a negative signal. Of course it's not, it's just XRP. Well, the price of Bitcoin has dropped to 107,000. In essence, the 106 Ethereum Thrasos 700 support zone. As you can see, this is the first, second, third, and fourth time we've seen this location. Additionally, meme coins, lesser altcoins, and altcoins are only getting less than 10, 14, 15, 13, and 11 are all big minuses. As you can see, the large vert is negative 20. There have been significant sell-offs of smaller cap altcoins, and you can see the large liquidations and sea of crimson that are taking place. All of this has been happening for the past 4 hours. 42 million on Ethereum, 77 on Bitcoin. Solana 22 on others, 27 on others. XRP is just 3.36 million on the long, as you can see. XRP does not appear to have much leverage to the upside. Silver lining? I'm not sure. We understand, but let's see whether you're interested in the indicator here. You can obtain the indicator by subscribing to my email list using my link. You simply go through one of our partners, huh? You can choose to sign up with either of our partners once you've signed up with one of them. Additionally, having numerous accounts is always a smart idea. If you're interested, you can use the UID to obtain the indicator. Actually, though, I beg you to trade sensibly. Naturally, as they are affiliate links, I will receive a commission if you utilize my link. Thank you for providing the link in the description below. Well, here we'll see how the market develops. That's what I believe. My theory, correct? Of course, it's not financial advice. Always conduct your own research before making an investment. I have no idea what the market will do on a daily basis. I say this a lot. Yes, I warn you. Well, with the meeting that took place and all of the headlines, we did receive some positive news today, if you didn't see the video. I'll link to that in the morning. Reviewed all of the outcomes of the president's meetings, correct? Of the large nations. And, well, we'll see how that turns out in the long run, but that was positive news. What's occurring, in my opinion, is that we've seen this happen before when the Fed makes its decision the day following. We observe how the markets respond or begin to respond. As a result of anything he said, it may not always happen on the day itself, but it will occasionally happen a little later. Correct. As a result, the market is already responding to the Fed chairman's statement yesterday that they are unsure about what will transpire in December. Will there be a cut at the next meeting? Correct. There was an 84.7% chance last week that we would see a drop to 350,375. That has now dropped to 68%. As a result, the market is unsure of what may transpire. In December, will there be a reduction in interest rates? And it will be 6 weeks away in 5.5 weeks. A month and a half is a considerable period of time. Correct. As a result, there is a sell-off when the markets are unsure about what will happen to a particular asset or asset class. Well, Avi, the stock market isn't really having a big sell-off, you may be thinking. You'd be correct, too. Well, despite the fact that today's VIX, or fear index, is really negative. On the other hand, the majority of the assets that I monitor here are in the red. Thus, this is a peculiar circumstance. This indicates that despite today's sell-offs, individuals are still quite optimistic about the market. Consequently, the issue is highly perplexing. Thus, the stock market is also perplexed. The issue with the cryptocurrency market is that due to the enormous levels of leverage that we observe, people employ them, which is extremely dangerous and quickly liquidated on short moves. Correct. Therefore, it will be fascinating to watch where the market develops. Once more, I'm not sure, but it will be fascinating. Again, there might also be a sell-off at the end of October when few people anticipated October. And it's possible that they bought assets at the start of the month and are now releasing once again. Crypto is also thought to be a little riskier. Therefore, it's possible that people are selling their riskier assets because they're worried. That is also a possibility. That is something we must consider. I'm really into the cryptocurrency market, though, given the long-term outlook and everything the president and his family are doing. So, we'll see what happens in the near future. Everything's possible that this October will be the worst ever, and November will save everything. Perhaps. Let's see. All right. From Uphold, interesting. You can see XRP holders, and Uphold is still very extremely enthusiastic about XRP. It's for you. Uphold is introducing asset-backed loans, initially in a few locations. With Uphold, you will be able to borrow against your XRP. This is yet another XRP utility. We noticed that Gemini was offering XRP credit cards, and there are more and more locations. Additionally, Ripple has been showing up everywhere, and we have an update from Ripple, the head of RippleSwell, showing how blockchain payments have a tangible impact on all of these businesses. With our combined efforts, we can reduce settlement times from days to seconds, guaranteeing quicker assistance and more effect where it's most needed. RippleSwell, which is taking place in New York City, is drawing nearer and nearer. Therefore, that will be quite intriguing. This time, I won't be there. Well, perhaps next year, even if it's cold in New York in November. No. Well, perhaps we will go the next time. Although I've had far too many trips lately, I still want to see my relatives in New York. It is possible that we will make a brief trip to New York City next year. It will be fascinating to observe how this day unfolds once more. Can we see? Is this the bottom? Or will the markets continue to decline? As you can see, Ethereum is also approaching a resistance area support zone, which it has touched 3 or 4 times, and Bitcoin is approaching a support zone. It will be fascinating then. Bitcoin's dominance is still growing, but it's not that bad. And what's still fascinating is that I'm constantly worried about. Because, well, there's still this gap at 92,000. I'm constantly worried that the market might revert to that level. My hypothesis was that it would go to the upside before doing so. And recall how we were constantly thinking, oh, it's never going to happen, when we had that gap at 70,000. It will never take place. And at last it did. In reality, how long did it take that time? We'll see. Until they closed, I guess. About 112 days passed. I believe that this time period has been rather longer. This time, we've already reached 180 days and it hasn't occurred yet. Can we then consider the possibility that the gap may not close this time? The question is that, despite this, Bitcoin's health on Friday did not decline. Theoretically, the 92,000 area may have been affected if it had fallen like the other assets, but that didn't occur. Additionally, I believe it occurred after futures closed. Perhaps that was Bitcoin's saving grace in that situation. It was such an interesting day. Although it's not the day that many people desire, some people see red days as opportunities for growth. Everything relies on your perspective on the market, what you're doing and your strategy for each and every situation. Not financial advice, once more. Always do your own research before making an investment. Additionally, keep in mind that I will never message you on social media to ask you to send me money or join up for anything. They are con artists. Please examine the email list and exercise extreme caution. Additionally, you can join up with our partners and receive the 1348 EMA indicator,